This is Ryan Huxley again, Supervising Structural Engineer, and the next module that we'll go through is continuing on with the administration, now dealing more specifically with the Form DSA 152, also known as the Project Inspection Card, and the Inspection Manual. We'll be going through both of those in more detail in this module. So as far as those two topics, first, the inspection card. So what is it? How is it filled out? We'll go over that. We'll also look in more detail at the 152 inspection card manual. We'll talk about who the intended users are, as well as what it is, and how to use it. With regards to the inspection card, it provides the evidence of certification, that is, the documents and inspections that are associated with certifying the construction is in compliance with the approved documents, and it does so at various construction milestones. This is one of the ways that DSA ensures that all of the documents that have been submitted and have been approved and accepted. Conceptually, it's similar to concurrent certification as construction occurs, and it also ensures that the testing and inspection program is properly implemented throughout the construction progress. It serves as a project inspector interim verified report, and it also serves as a reminder list for the inspector regarding the sequence of inspections that they will often see in construction. It also provides the accountability of various team members that are involved with producing documents associated with the construction. Those are usually going to be the verified reports, and these are those that we would want to see during various construction milestones. And those individuals who provide those are the project inspector, the design professional, laboratory manager, and these are just a few of the examples of verified reports that are required, and those that would be essentially captured through the documentation process in the inspection card. And these requirements for verified reports have been around for many code cycles by statute or regulation. Another benefit that the inspection card provides is that it breaks the project into manageable chunks. It can be used for each individual building, and there's also one that is used to apply to site work, including non-building structures. It also allows some flexibility of the construction schedule to allow shifting around that sometimes occurs. It also ensures that, It also ensures that the project inspector and contractor are properly coordinated regarding what has been inspected versus what has not. And it also allows sign-off of portions of the work with regards to as each phase of the construction within a given building as it is completed, then everyone is on the same page for knowing where things are at with regards to the inspections of the constructed work. This also allows timely enforcement of the regulations such that if necessary, DSA can impose an order to comply or a stop work order if there is non-compliant work being constructed and covered up. Continuing on with the inspection card basics, the same card would be used for all projects. Therefore, some of the items or blocks may not be applicable based upon the scope or nature of the work that's occurring on a given project. It's important to consider what the overarching themes are for the inspection card. That is, to ensure that the inspections occur prior to covering up the work, and that there's timely receipt of the required documentation associated with those inspections and that construction work. DSA procedure PR 1301 provides the required and prescribed method for compliance with the regulations for communication and documentation of the status of construction inspections and material testing. You can find a copy of PR 1301 in the Resources tab, PR 1301. As was noted, it defines the inspection card process, and it also provides more detailed descriptions regarding the roles and responsibilities for different stakeholders that are involved with the construction process. Of most interest to the project inspector is section 1.8, while there are other sections also referenced in 1.8 to other sections that will also be of interest to the project inspector. You can use the DSA 152 inspection card manual since it has additional information and can be used as a reference with regards to what testing or inspection would be applicable based upon what type of material, construction material, or testing and so on may occur for your project. The number of inspection cards is going to vary depending upon the project scope. Generally speaking, there's going to be one inspection card that is associated for each individual separate building, in addition to one that's provided for the site work. And the site work card would include any non-building site structures. There is an exception, and that would be as shown here, and that is for the siting of relocatable buildings that are less than 2,160 square feet. Those only need one inspection card to encompass all of the buildings, plus an additional one for the site work, which again would include any non-building site structures, such as fences, retaining walls, and so on. However, if there is any in-plant construction of relocatable buildings, then one inspection card will be required for each separate building, but that would be for the in-plant inspection card. That's the DSA 152 IPI. Construction observation will still be provided by the design professional for the in-plant construction, and that would be as determined by the information provided in Form DSA 1MR, and further information related to that is covered in Bulletin BU 1601. DSA had many meetings and committee hearings to try and come up with what would be an appropriate numbering method for these inspection cards. After many deliberations and debates and discussions, we came up with this ingenious method: 1, 2, 3 for all buildings. In addition, we all recalled being back in kindergarten and recalling that there was also that number £SW, and this is what we've used for the site work. I hope you're appreciating the humor as we go through this. Similarly, when it came to the in-plant inspection card, we also number those sequentially, starting with 1, so it would just be 1 IP, 2 IP, 3 IP, and so on. And that's applicable for the DSA 152 IPI. You can take a look at PR 1301, section 1.4 for further information related to in-plant inspection. With regards to your duties as a project inspector related to the use of the inspection card, those are as follows. You, the project inspector, must possess the inspection cards prior to the start of construction. As we know, sometimes school districts become a little bit anxious to begin construction before they ought to, and this is an area where you can note that you need to have that before construction commences. We also want you to make sure that you have the correct quantity of inspection cards. You essentially act as a second pair of eyes to make sure that all of the inspection cards that you will need for the project that you do indeed have. Be sure to immediately notify the DSA regional office that's applicable for that project if construction begins without the inspection cards being in your possession. That's generally going to be through what is provided in DSA box, which we'll talk about in the next section, or which we talked about previously in a prior module. Use the information found in DSA PR 1301 as well as the 152 manual to ensure that all of the necessary tests and inspections did occur and the documents associated with those have been received by you, the project inspector, and are in your job file prior to approving, that is, essentially signing off, each applicable block and section of each inspection card. To clarify and go into further detail regarding signing off of the applicable blocks and sections in the inspection card, you will want to do that when all of the following occur. All of the completed work complies with the DSA approved construction documents. All of the necessary testing and inspections are complete. All of the relevant deviations from the DSA approved construction documents are resolved that are associated with that block, and all of the relevant DSA field trip note issues are also resolved that would be associated with that block that you are signing off. And all of the necessary documentation from various individuals are received by you, the project inspector. If any block or section is not applicable, the project inspector simply enters NA for the date but still provides your initials. That means that every single block will have your initials. Until the project inspector has signed off the applicable blocks and sections of the inspection card, it could be that the contractor may be prohibited from proceeding with subsequent construction activities that would be covering up unapproved work. Any subsequent construction activities covering up unapproved work will be subject to a stop work order from DSA or the district. As the project inspector, it's very important that you immediately notify the DSA regional office if applicable inspection cards and the applicable inspection card blocks or sections have not been signed off, yet the contractor is proceeding with subsequent construction activities that will cover up the unapproved work. If you have a very large building in which there's incremental construction occurring, because the requirements of the card are such that you only sign it off when everything is complete, it's important to consider how you might address those kinds of situations. So let's consider an example. Let's say that you have a large building which has a large foundation system that's placed incrementally over a period of time, and framing begins to start in one area while foundation work is still occurring in another area. What would you need to do? Well, again, because only the applicable blocks and sections of the inspection card are signed off at the completion of the system, not during the construction of the increments, you need to come up with a method of appropriately communicating with all of the interested stakeholders. One example would be that until the given system is complete, you as the project inspector, in coordination with the design professionals and the contractors, mutually agree upon some type of method to keep track of that compliant construction. One such method, using the above example that we were just referring to, could be to use a copy of the foundation plan that's been marked up to show various areas of compliance. Remember, all of the applicable blocks and sections of the inspection card are signed off once all areas of the foundation are complete. Continuing on now and looking in more detail now at the 152 form, the DSA inspection card, the project inspector must fill out that to report compliant construction status based upon the requirements that are included in the California Administrative Code. It essentially serves as an interim verified report for the project inspector. You would want to make use of PR 1301, as previously mentioned, as well as the 152 manual, which will go into further detail later on. So looking at the first section here, this form shall be completed by the project inspector in accordance with the California Code of Regulations, Title 24, Part 1, Section 4-336A, as the work of construction progresses. The next line I won't bother to read since it's essentially repeating the same information in the sub-bullets we just went over. This first area is input by DSA. It essentially has the information about the project related to the school name, your name, the file number, and so on. The appendix in DSA Procedure PR 1301 or the 152 manual in section 1.1 provides a summary example list of the associated construction items for each block, given how brief that inspection card is. Therefore, this provides further context for each block to give you a better understanding of which items would be normally incorporated into a given block.